Welcome again. Good evening and welcome to the Connecticut Department of Transportation Public Information meeting for State Project 174-464. This project will install centerline rumble strips on eligible roadways throughout Connecticut that will be repaved into 2023. Tonight we'll be presenting on the need for centerline rumble strips in Farmington on Route 4, Farmington Avenue, as well as highlighting the safety benefits that comes with its installation. My name is Khadija Janat, and I am the project engineer at the Connecticut Department of Transportation for this project. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us. We hope our presentation will be informative, and we hope to answer your questions and concerns during tonight's question and answer session. By the end of tonight's meeting, we hope you will have a better understanding on the importance and benefit of installing centerline rumble strips in Farmington. Before we start our presentation and introduce the project team, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items and explain the format of tonight's meeting. Our presentation will last approximately 20 minutes, and once it is completed, we will host a live question and answer session. You will have 3 ways to communicate with us during the live Q&A session. You can send us an email at dotproject174-464 farmington@ct.gov. You can leave us a voice message at 860-594-2020, or you can also submit or type in our you can type in the question at our Zoom event at the Q&A icon. And also, or you can just raise your hand and one of our moderator will unmute you and you can leave a message that way. You can ask your question that way. We also have a project website where our recording of tonight's entire presentation, including the live event Q&A, will be stored. This web page will also contain the same information that I've previously explained on how to provide comments or ask questions. The web page address is on this screen, http:/portal.ct.gov/DOT Farmington 174-468. The comment period will be open through November 29, 2022 via either the email or telephone shown on the screen. The Zoom Q&A function will only be available during tonight's live Q&A session. Lastly, we would greatly appreciate it if you can fill out the brief survey feedback that is on the project webpage. Virtual public information meetings are a new and necessary development for the department during these times, and the survey will help the department improve these public meetings going forward again. The project webpage is http:/portal.ct.gov/DOT Farmington 174-468. It's the same webpage you registered for this meeting. There is also a civil rights flyer that's available. The website is portal.ct.gov/dot/business/contract compliance/civil rights and accessibility. Finally, I would like to reinforce that no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. Now, I would like to introduce to you those from the department who are participating in this meeting. Natasha Fatu is the state safety engineer for the state of Connecticut, the head of the safety engineering unit in the department's division of traffic engineering, and is the project manager for this project. Once again, I'm Khadija Janat. I'm an engineer in the safety engineering unit, the lead engineer for this project, and primary presenter for tonight's meeting. I'll also be answering any questions you may have during the live Q&A session. Yilu, Steve Bruno, and Rob Smith are also engineers with the safety engineering units, and they will be monitoring the Zoom Q&A and hand raise feature, as well as project email address, call-in voicemail for any question or comments during the live Q&A session. Now, as for our agenda for this evening, we'll go through the project descriptions, purpose of this project, as well as objectives that we hope to achieve. Then we will give a thorough description of what centerline rumble strips are and why centerline rumble strips are the best countermeasures for this roadway segment. Next, I will discuss the installation process of centerline rumble strips. Lastly, we will go over the cost and timeline for this project before we wrap up everything with the Q&A discussion. The Connecticut Department of Transportation will repave Route 4 for approximately a mile east of Route 167 to 200 feet east, west of Town Farm Road in the town of Farmington. The sections between Winwood Road to Brick Road and between Brickyard Road and between Brickyard Road and Devonwood Road Drive and between Devonwood Drive to Town Farm Road are identified as being candidate for installation of centerline rumble strips. I will go over what qualifies these sections of Route 4 as eligible later in the presentation. As mentioned in the last slide, centerline rumble strips are proposed on the 3 sections on Route 4 between Windham Road and Town Farm Road, as highlighted on this aerial image, for a total of 1.20 miles in Farmington. As you can see, the residential density is sparse within these segments, which is one of the considerations when determining the eligibility. But I'll go over that more later. For the time being, please note that the vast majority of homes are more than 100 feet from the roadway, with only a couple of exceptions. I would also like to clarify that centerline rumble strips are discontinued at the intersections with public streets such as Brickyard Drive, because vehicles use the intersection areas when they are turning into and out of the side roads. So what are centerline rumble strips? Centerline rumble strips are grouped within the double arrow centerline that produces noise and vibration when the tire of the vehicle comes into contact with them. The noise and vibration alert the drivers that they have departed from their lane and give the driver an opportunity to recover. Centerline rumble strips are different than groove along the edge of Connecticut's interstate highways. The groove for centerline rumble strips on secondary roads are not as deep and therefore produce much less noise. Why centerline rumble strips? The audible and vibratory warning greatly improves the chances that a driver will quickly and safely return to their lane. Centerline rumble strips also have the additional benefit of helping drivers navigate during poor weather conditions such as fog, snow, and rain, when pavement markings are obscure. The Federal Highway Administration has identified centerline rumble strips as a proven safety countermeasure to address head-on and side swipe opposite direction crashes. As I mentioned in the last slide, centerline rumble strips are an example of a proven safety countermeasure according to the Federal Highway Administration, along with other countermeasures shows on this slide. Additional information can be found here by Googling proven safety countermeasures and clicking on the first link. The Department Safety Engineering Unit also has an information now website which provides additional information specific to Connecticut. Now let's talk about crashes. In 2021, there were 36 fatalities and 2,675 injuries from head-on and opposite direction side swipe crashes on Connecticut roadways, non-freeways. Centerline rumble strips help reduce these crashes, this type of crashes, which could be attributed to distracted or fatigued driving. Over 25% of people injured in crashes associated with vehicle crossing the centerline rumble strips were under the age of 25. It is also worth noting that the Connecticut is experiencing a 57% decrease in total fatal and severe injury crashes since we have started installing centerline rumble strips, which is an indication that it's working. Looking at motor vehicles on the segment of Route 4 in Farmington from 2019 to 2021, there were 2 crashes that involved drivers encroaching over the centerline rumble strips and those opposite side swipe crashes. The point of the centerline rumble strips is to reduce the possibility of these type of severe crashes. It is also important to note that near misses are not recorded. So they may be happening, but there is no information about them. Centerline rumble strips are highly effective, low-cost proactive treatment intended to reduce lane departure crashes and will aid in continuing to keep these crashes from happening. Based on national data, fatal and injury head-on and side swipe crashes in rural areas reduced by average of 44%. Additionally, per the infograph at the bottom of this slide, centerline rumble strips can reduce head-on crashes by as much as 50%, runoff crashes by 46%, fatal crashes by 51%, and serious injury crashes by 41%. Use of centerline rumble strips. There are approximately 43 states across the country that use centerline rumble strips, including all the states in the Northeast US. Connecticut started installing centerline rumble strips in 2014 and shoulder line rumble strips on limited access highways since 1994. As of March 2021, Connecticut has installed over 385 miles of centerline rumble strips on state roads and over 90 miles on local roads, with more being proposed every year. Lastly, there is a link to a video titled Rumble Strips, The Sweet Sound of Safety, which is a short YouTube video uploaded by the Federal Highway Administration and will be available once our presentation is posted online. It can also be found on YouTube by typing the underlined keyword. As you can see on this map, the majority of the towns in Connecticut, over 120 of 169 towns, have had centerline rumble strip installed. Any town shown in green already have centerline rumble strips, whether it's on a town or a state-owned roadway. Towns in blue are programmed to have them installed, and towns shown in white do not currently have centerline rumble strips, nor are they planned to get them at this time. But this will likely change in the near future as additional roads are paved. Also note that most of the Farmington's neighboring towns, including Farmington itself, as well as Avon, New Britain, Bristol, Burlington, and Avon already have centerline rumble strip. Criteria for centerline rumble strip eligibility. The department goes through a screening process to determine centerline rumble strips eligibility, including taking a look at the following: traffic volume, making sure that the average daily traffic on the road is at least 2,000 vehicles per day, ensuring that the pavement is in good condition, meaning less than 3 years old. The roadway is to have a minimum of 14 feet of width from the center line to the edge of the pavement. This makes sure that there is plenty of room for drivers to maneuver in their lane without going over the centerline rumble strips. The roadway must have a posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour or greater. Lastly, there should be a low residential density. If there are some homes along the segment, we try to ensure that majority are at least 100 feet from the edge of the road. The average cost of installing Centerline rumble strip is a little more than $2 per linear foot. On top of that, double yellow Centerline paint is added, which is about $1.25 per foot, bringing the cost to implement the Centerline rumble strip to a total approximation to a total of approximately $25,000 for the 1.2 mile long segment. The cost will be covered by 100% state funds, so there is no cost to the town, with construction anticipated to take place during next year's construction season. These are just a couple of pictures taken from the construction, showing part of the milling and grooving process. Construction vehicles work and travel at approximately 2 to 3 miles per hour to install the Centerline rumble strips. The work is done during non-rush hours, and the Centerline are painted a few days later. And with that, I want to thank you for your time to listen to our presentation. And now it's time to hear from you in our live question and answer session. Remember that you may email us any question or comments via the project email address, leave a voice message, or call in phone line, or type in your question directly in the Zoom session, or raise your hand and one of our moderator will unmute you so you can ask your question. And finally, we also encourage you to take the brief feedback survey to help us improve how we so we can improve our delivery for the next public information meeting. And that survey is on our project website. With that, I'll hand it over to Natasha.
Thank you, Khadija, for that great presentation. And thank you for those very much who are participating in tonight's question and answer period. I do want to remind anyone if they how they may ask questions. For those in the chat, you can post your question in the Zoom live event chat, where you have the option to ask a question anonymously. Or for everyone else, you can also ask a question through our email, dotproject174-464 farmington@ct.gov, or by phone at 860-594-2020, where you can leave a message with your questions. Both the email and the voicemail are being checked throughout this period. I also want to remind and encourage everyone to participate in the brief survey at the link displayed on the screen. It's also located at the bottom of the project webpage. And another reminder is that the public comment period for the presentation is open through November 29th, and we will be reviewing all voicemails and emails within that time frame. However, the live chat is only available during this live event. Looks like we might have a question here. What is the time frame for this project? That is the question. Khadija, do you have an answer for the time frame?
Yes, this project is, as we said, it's going in construction the spring of next year. And it should be done within a very short time period.
So I just want to remind everyone again how you may ask a question. For those in the chat, you can post it right in the Zoom live event chat where you have the option to ask a question anonymously. For those who prefer email, please email us at dotproject174-464farmington@ct.gov. And for those who prefer the phone, we have our phone number at 860-594-2020, where you can leave a message with your question. Russ Arnold, I see you have your hand raised. I'm going to unmute. I think. Russ, can you see if you're unmuted?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for having the public informational meeting. It was, we're having it because we've reviewed, your plans and haven't agreed with the crash data. You said there were 2 crashes in 3 years. Do you have where were the crashes and what was the reason for the crash? Is that available?
Russ, we can get that information to you for sure. We'll get that. We didn't have that ready for tonight, but we can have that information. But as just a reminder, the Centerline rumble strips are more of a proactive measure that the department is taking. We like to install these in advance of waiting for a crash to happen.
No, I understand it. I understand the process and the reasoning. We reviewed it here. We had our TRB review it as well. Where else in Farmington do you have the rumble strips?
Russ, we're going to have to get back to you on that one too.
Okay. You know what I'll do? I think maybe I'll just email you all my questions. Would that be easier?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for having the meeting.
Let me just reiterate the answer to the first question. So we have about 1.20 mile segment here. It shouldn't take more than a few hours once the construction crew is mobilized, and they can complete it in a few hours. And once the new pavement is installed, it's a rather short process, and that should not impact any regular commute or lead to any sort of major delay.
And am I still muted?
No, you're still.
All right. Thank you. One more question. This section was done about 10 years ago. This section of Route 4 was repaved through the preservation project. As part of this, you're going to come up, basically you're starting at the town hall again at Monteith Drive. Is that correct?
Oh, Khadijah, you're muted.
Okay, so this project is basically from Winwood Road to Brickyard Road is the first segments that we are installing the Centerline rumble strips, and then the eastern half of Brickyard Road to the Devonwood Drive, and then between Devonwood Drive to Town Hall Road. So we have those small sections in between left because of intersections and intersections. Basically, there isn't a lot of
right.
So Russ, was your question about the repaving or the Centerline rumble strips?
The overall project limits itself.
Yep. So I think it's from 0.9 miles east of Route 167 to 210. Oh, sorry, Route 167 to 210 feet west of Town Farm Road.
Right. So this is basically the same project from 2012, I believe, right? That preservation project.
The 2012 was probably a maintenance VIP project where they probably redid the roadway. This is a pavement preservation project.
What?
This one is a pavement preservation project.
The last one was as well, Adam, I forget Adam's last name right now, but
Adam LeBlanc from Highway Design.
Yes. Yep,
Oh, then they, we didn't choose so traffic safety didn't choose the roads that were part of the pavement preservation. That decision was made in conjunction with maintenance and highway design. As a result of pavement preservation, we take the opportunity, any pavement preservation or VIP, we take the opportunity to install centerline rumble strips where the criteria is met. Back in 2012, we wouldn't have been doing, we hadn't done centerline rumble strips, so that's probably why.
I understand that. My question is, I guess part of my question is, why are we doing this pavement preservation project again 10 years later when we have other sections of Route 4 that could use paving? But I guess that would be highway design and not this forum.
Correct. Correct. Okay. This one is specifically on the centerline rumble strips. We're not the prime on the pavement preservation project. That would be highway design. And
right. So this is just the centerline rumble strip portion of that project.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Ross, I'm going to take you off of mute unless you raise your unless you have something else, and if you raise your hand, we'll take you back on.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'll email all my questions to you.
Okay. So for anybody else that's listening to tonight's question and answer and presentation on centerline rumble strips, just want to give you another reminder on the opportunity and ways to ask questions. For those in the chat, you can post your question directly into the Zoom live event chat, or you can raise your hand and we'll unmute you. If you prefer email, it's dotproject174-464 farmington@ct.gov. Or phone is 860-594-2020. We are monitoring both of those throughout this event. We do want to encourage everyone to participate in the brief survey at the link that's on the, Khadija is going to go to the last page, that's on the last page, or it's located at the bottom of the project webpage. This comment period is open to the public until November 29th, and we'll be reviewing voicemails and emails within that time frame regarding this project. And however, the live chat or raising your hand option is only available during this live event today. Just want to remind everybody that the project webpage is can be found at http://portal.ct.gov/dot Farmington 174-464. So please take that opportunity to check out our webpage and learn a little bit more about the project and ask any questions and fill out the survey. Khadija, maybe you can just let everybody know how long the project will take.
Once again, the project, once the construction crew is mobilized, they can complete a combined 1.20 mile long segment within a few hours. And once the new pavement is installed, it will be a very short process, which is not anticipated to impact regular commute or lead to any sort of major delay.
Russ, I see your hand is raised. We're going to unmute you. Okay, you're unmuted.
Thank you. With that, so you're going to do this. It sounds like this is going to go through regardless. So when you do this installation, Route 4 is busy pretty much all day long. So any kind of work on Route 4 creates delay. So is this something that could be done at night?
Russ, we can certainly talk to the highway design team, but for the pavement preservation project, I'm not sure what they had set up for their construction or the MPT plans. We can reach out to them and find out what that MPT for the pavement preservation for Route 4 is going to be.
So thank you. I appreciate that, folks. So this is going to get done during the day, regardless of when that project gets done.
So the pavement preservation project will go through, and then we'll follow up with the Centerline rumble strips, all in that same construction project. It will have the same restrictions as the paving work.
Okay.
So it's one project. And the restrictions are the same, whether they're going to be doing paving or Centerline rumble strips. And this is not the only location in the project. I don't know the specifics of that pavement preservation project. Our scope of work was limited to the Centerline rumble strips for today's presentation. And Russ, we can certainly get some more information or put you in touch with the project team or construction lead for the pavement preservation project.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Did you have any more questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll email everything over to you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we don't have any further questions in the chat. And we have been checking email and voicemail. There are no questions in either of those mediums. So we do want to thank you all for joining us for this evening. I want to remind everyone that the comment period is open through November 29th. The questions can be sent to the project email or by phone at 594-2020 and visit our project website. http://portal.ct.gov/DOT Farmington 174-464. And you can find a copy of the presentation, copies of the plans, and a link to a brief survey that we encourage everyone to fill out. Thank you once again for your time and enjoy the rest of your night.